Welcome to Everything's Not Black and White with your hosts, Lala and Brian.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode. Oh my goodness, we have the most amazing guest with us in the studio today. He is one of only 4 men who have won 10 plus NBA championship rings, both as a player and a coach. He has coached over 45 years in both professional and collegiate basketball. He has played with some of the greatest in the game, including Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, and Wilt Chamberlain. And not only that, he also coached some legends like Michael Jordan, Air Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal. Please welcome to the EMBW podcast, Coach Jim Cleamons.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm excited. We actually got a sports person on here instead of corporate personality. So this is great. This has kind of been my avenue of work here. So thank you so much for being here. Growing up as a kid, I learned how to play basketball just playing in the courts and stuff. And I became a huge fan of Reggie Miller back in the day. And I used to try to model my game after him with that constant hustle. And I knew people would get tired of me defending them because I would chase them everywhere. And if I wasn't chasing them, I was running on offense. I didn't care if I had a ball or not. They were going to chase me. I think that for me, that's when I officially knew that I loved basketball, and I really started playing it quite a bit. And I played it clear up to the age where I was 42 years old before I finally hung it up. And I want to ask you, when did you first fall in love with basketball, and when did you know that was your sport?
Wow. You've taken me back into the recesses of my mind because basketball never became, quote unquote, my sport per se.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up playing baseball.
Okay.
I fell in love with basketball because I couldn't play. It became such a challenge. I guess the challenge of being able to throw the ball through the hoop, and everyone else was doing that as an activity. And I became stubborn enough. If you know me long enough, I am stubborn. But I look at it as one of my good qualities.
Yeah.
I decided I was going to learn how to play. It seemed like all my classmates, and this is somewhere in about the 4th, 5th, 6th grades, they were playing at my little Grogan Boys Club. They go home at night and they come back and they were talking about what happened at the Boys Club when I was at home. And I learned to finally get to hoist the ball. I couldn't, those days, you pushed it up, you threw it up, you never shot it up, and that's why I didn't like basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'm a far better baseball player than I ever thought I would be basketball.
Oh, wow. And you made it to the NBA, obviously, so you obviously are very talented at basketball. I'd fear for the Major League Baseball if you would have went that path. There'd been somebody without a job because you would have taken it.
Well, I just grew up playing baseball. That was the activity for my uncle. When he would come home from work, he could have a mitten, a ball, and I had one, and he'd get into a catcher squat, and my job was to hit the target. Mm-hmm. And that's where I really learned to begin to concentrate, mind over body, and activity, and hit his glove. I'm left-handed, and I was wild as hell. But he didn't give up on me, and I certainly didn't give up on him.
I love that. That's so beautiful. I think, that's one of the things about sports that I find so fascinating. It really can teach you so many things about life lessons, about, perseverance, about resilience, about collaboration and teamwork. So I would really love to know, what are some of those beautiful lessons that sports in general taught you about life that you still carry with you right now to this day?
Well, the things that you just rolled off your tongue so eloquently, that's what I talk about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know I've been blessed. Mm-hmm. And the blessing is, how do you continue to share your blessings with other than yourself and do it in a manner in which, not authoritarian, because we all have free will. Question is, what do we do with our free will, and how do we continue to pass our blessings forward, not backwards? We give forward. And that's why I'm an educator as a teacher. That's why I play the game the way I played the game, because as a child, I did not like to lose. I would have a hissy. I would cry. I did not like to lose. And I enjoyed winning. Not so much putting it in your face and laughing and then, and kidding you with it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed success early on. And I had a bunch of cousins in the small town North Carolina we lived in, and they were all older than I was, and I could never beat them. They were 3, 4, 5 years older than me. I didn't understand. That didn't equate in my logic why I couldn't beat them, just the fact that they were older. And so I would play against them by myself, kickball or any other activity, and challenge them. And I didn't like to lose. So I never like to lose, so I'm always at the analytical process of, right, how can I do this better? What do I need to learn to do it better? And that competitiveness is just born in me. And I get that from my mother's side of the family because, unfortunately, I don't know my father's side. They were divorced early in my life. But my mother's side, they're good people.
Yeah.
They just took the bull by the horns, as we say down south, and they weren't going to take second best. And that I have that gene.
Yes.
And I'm just hopeful that my daughters have it. I know they have it, but see, they've grown up. To quote my wife, they're living our lives. So when they get out there on their own, their true blood is going to have to shine through because I know it's in them.
Yes.
But it hasn't been required yet to really, roll up their sleeves and get down and dirty.
Yes.
That's the part I'm going to really enjoy watching them as they mature as young people.
Yes. Did you ever get to beat your cousins? I know you were older, but did you ever get to the point where you could actually beat them?
Well, what had happened was
the answer is no.
I couldn't beat them collectively.
Yes.
But see, when you got a little bit older and I started to grow, when you're in basketball, you play one-on-one. They knew that they couldn't beat me one-on-one. So guess what? We didn't play. So in fact, any of those people who listen to your broadcast in Columbus in the late 60s, there's a game called Chicago 21.
Okay.
And Chicago's everybody for himself and God for y'all.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And so there's an area in Columbus called Franklin Junior High School, and there was a bucket over there, and I was visiting them, and that's what they were playing. And it's like it's literally 20 people play at one time until there's a dropout. Then you have to have a certain amount of points by the time the first person gets like 13.
Yes.
If you don't, then you go sit.
Yes.
Well, when they started to sit and I was still playing, then that's the revenge.
Yes, there you go.
So that's where that came from. But they lived on the side of town. For your listeners, at that time it was East Side, and all your cousins went to East. Seemed like
yes.
And East and Linden developed a competitiveness, both just good schools.
Yes.
And who wanted to go over to your cousin's house and them laugh and brag, in fact, how bad they beat you?
Yes.
So that Linden East rivalry was born, for me at least, in the fact that I got tired of my cousins laughing and making fun of me.
Yes.
And who wanted that? So the legends grew, the meaning for the camaraderie and the competition. It wasn't the fact that you didn't like East.
Yes.
You just wanted to have your moment in the sunshine.
Right. Absolutely.
And so that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Growing up in my generation, we watched players like Bill Lambert, Isaiah Thomas, Patrick Ewing, and there seemed for me to be an edge to the game. Like, it was a little rougher back then. Being that you were even the generation before that, how do you see that the game has changed over time? And do you like that change?
No, I don't like the change. I am a fundamentalist. I enjoy seeing, I'm going to be absurd now, the correct way.
Yeah.
There's no correct way.
Yeah.
But there is a method and there's an art form. I like the way we were taught the game. I know everything changes, but what I'm seeing now is too much me and not enough we.
Yeah.
And when I talk to young people about our sport, and I'm selfish enough to still claim it, basketball is a game, I firmly believe, of sharing. And sharing and caring. And the way you know that is how you pass the ball from one to the other. I want your job to be easy. I see what you can do. I know what you can do. Well, I want to help you because in helping you, I'm helping us. I talk to young people all the time. Basketball is not a me game, it's a we game. And what is important is that we learn, not just me, we learn how to make our skills, our moments together beneficial and having fun. I don't have fun when I just throw you the ball and we used to call it Bogart, or just keep it and you're dribbling around like you're a dribble king. That's no fun. Fun is in sharing.
Yeah.
Fun is the reward of each one of us having a good time in what we do, and we share those moments of good time. I think that was the purpose, in my mind's eye, for the sport that we have, and as we know it. I want everyone to touch the ball, and that's why I became, in my older days, quote unquote, a playmaker. I wasn't a playmaker. I just made sure we were organized and we got guys in the right spot. I knew what you could do. I wanted you to do your thing. Boom, here's the ball. Go do your thing. That's not right now. Get the ball back. Somebody else is ready to. That's part of the camaraderie I think is missing in today's sport. It's too many guys want to show what they can do. I'm interested in what we can do.
Yeah. Back in the day, they used to run a triangle offense. There's a lot of passing going on. And nowadays, it's more of like a spread. And then you give the one guy the ball to drive. I mean, that's got to drive you crazy as a fundamentalist, doesn't it?
I'm not happy. But here we go. Life changes.
Yeah.
So we have to change and adopt. Okay, that's part of the process. But there's still room. There's still times that, when you look at games, they got it. But do they have it enough to sustain, what I'm looking for as a former teacher and coach in the game? Not really, but I can't sit around and say that's not right.
Yeah.
Because life changes, and you better get on the bus or you're going to be left behind.
But, with life changing and gosh, you have so much beautiful history and knowledge in your mind. Like, who were the people that were really influential to you, both personally and professionally, as you were growing up through just your life and the sport?
I have so much to be thankful for. My teachers in the classroom probably challenged me more than the coaches that I had, because I was totally in learning mode.
Yeah.
If you'd seen me when I was a young child, baseball was my sport. But yet I never played baseball in high school for any of the coaches I played at Linmore Middle School. That was it. I enjoyed the discipline that sports gave me. I enjoyed meeting people. I carried papers till I was a senior in high school. I quit, long story short, I quit the first week of school my senior year because I didn't want to be known as the paper boy my last year in high school. So I saved all my money. My older sister, I knew about the prom and senior dues and all that stuff. So I figured out how much money I need to take me through the year so I would have money in my pocket. And my senior year, I just enjoyed being a senior. Yeah. And we had a wonderful team. And it was just a remarkable opportunity for me to just relax and enjoy people I'd known some since the sixth grade at Milo Elementary School through Linmore up through Linden.
Wow.
That's how communities grew and developed, and I've known some people now. I've known them since elementary. My best partner, we've been partners since the fourth grade.
Wow! And
we still kick it, and I love him. His kids call me Uncle Jim. It's just been a beautiful way, and through sports.
Yeah. And
see those are the qualities of life that I think so many of our young kids these days don't truly understand what the quote unquote future has in store for them. I don't think they can see past today. And I've always been one of those people, in my eyes anyway, that's seeing beyond what's in front of me now and trying to figure out what my grandkids are going to be doing if I'm fortunate to live that long, or what I want to be doing, 8 years from now, sitting on a beach somewhere, or just sit in the backyard, watching the grass grow. Yeah. Whatever you want to do, I still believe those are the possibilities that are in front of you, but you got to see it in your mind's eye, and then you say, we're working toward that.
Absolutely. I believe very much in manifestation. So I see things, and then obviously all of my actions are going to work me toward that goal. So I believe in that 100%. Thank you for sharing that. So I also wanted to ask a little bit, we talked about it before we started the broadcast, but you've been with your lovely missus for over 30 years now. which I think is beautiful. Can you tell a little bit of that story of how you met, and then what's the secret of 30-year marriage?
Well, the secret of 30-year marriage, I was gone half the time. The season, I've lived most of my life out of suitcases and away from my kids, watching them grow. She's had the best seat in the house, and God bless her, because once again I was an absentee father, and I got a chance to have fun watching them, because I didn't go to the practice. If I was in town, yes, but so much of it is work. People don't see, when I say people, the viewing audience, what happens behind the scenes in a quote-unquote a coach's life. You spend more time with other people than you do your own kids, and that's the blessing that I've had in my marriage. I've had a wife who enjoyed being a mother, and my daughters have had the blessing of having someone that really loves them, be around them daily, and holding their hands through all these processes that we call growth and learning and these experiences. And when you get the three of them together, I just sit back and just smile inwardly and outwardly that they're more like sisters than mother and daughter. And their conversations and how they communicate with each other, it just makes me happy to know that the blessings that I see in them, that the Creator has provided for us as a family unit. And that's really the joy that sports has given to me, as not so much work. It's the time that they have had together, and I've benefited just being able to watch them grow and continue to grow, and the smiles that they carry with them as they go through life.
You mentioned your two daughters, and with the way society is going nowadays, with a lot of social change and social justice going on, how do you feel with the professional athletes in the NFL and the NBA taking a lead now in trying to bring awareness and light to certain situations that are going on in our communities, where I think that was a little more absent back in the day compared to now? Do you like that, and you like the direction it's going?
Well, I think you're an athlete because you have certain skill set and you enjoy the activity. The human part of being part of a community, city, is where you live, and part of a country. Right? This is who we are, and we all have hopes, ambitions. That's what this country was supposedly founded on, and what it's supposed to be about. So I just want everyone to reach their own potential. I think that's what's important. We talk often about civil rights, and I'd like to say they're basically human rights. When you boil down to it, people, what makes the world go round, and we have to be cognizant and conscious of, those people around us. My job is, I thought, to make life better, and I'm so disappointed people in my age bracket at how we're leaving the environment, the quality of life. We're not doing the jobs I think that we need to be doing to ensure life continues after we leave here. And I think not enough is said about it, and not enough is done about it, because I think when you look at the train accidents that are happening to the quality of our air the last few days, let alone the last couple of weeks up in northeastern Ohio and New York border up in that area. Why aren't we taking better care of, if we really care, why aren't we doing a better job? When certain people are in power, quote unquote, there's too much money and too much power to think about the people at the lower end of their spectrum. And those are the people that we really should be caring about. See, that's what disappoints me about policies and the people that we are choosing to select to be quote unquote leaders of this country. You can't put your money where your mouth is. You got to worry about the people. The people will tell you what you should be doing. And here we go again. The representative's not doing a job. you do have the value of your ballot.
Yes.
Vote them out.
That's right.
I mean, let's make this thing clear. If you're not doing the job that the people want done, we gotta find you another job.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially here in Ohio.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I think that's a great point, because even as athletes, that's the job. They're still human beings who live in these neighborhoods, who pay taxes in these places, and they should have a right to speak on their behalf of themselves and their families and their friends, just like anybody else.
If I hear someone say, "Just shut up and dribble one more time," that's
it's disrespectful.
Disrespectful, and one of the most unpleasant things someone could say. Like these people are entertaining you and they're working hard and they're doing a job just like you do. It's just basketball.
Absolutely. Obviously, we read a bunch of accolades that you've achieved at the beginning of the broadcast, and I think that's so beautiful. And just even hearing the stories that you're telling us about your early life and your family life, like what are the secrets you would say to living your happiest and most fulfilled life?
Wow. I don't know. I've been truly blessed. I remember getting up. I used to carry Citizen Journal, and people who not around the Columbus area have no idea what the Citizen Journal is. But I carried the early morning paper from the time I was in the 9th grade all the way through my senior year in high school. And the reason I carried the early morning paper is I knew I wanted to go to college. And in the 9th grade, I bought a typewriter. And I still had that typewriter.
You still have it to today?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
And that typewriter is a reminder of why I didn't play basketball in the 9th grade at Linmore. Other than the fact that I don't know if I made the team. But I certainly didn't make the team because I didn't go out, because I promised my mother. I took typing in the 9th grade. I wanted a typewriter. And she said, "Well, how are you going to pay for it?" I was helping someone carry a route. And when I made the commitment to buying a typewriter, I got my own route, but it was the early morning paper. And I got it up from the 9th grade all the way through 10th, 11th, 12th. I got up at 4:30 in the morning, 6 days a week, and collected through the papers, rain, snow. But that was how I paid my mother back for buying the typewriter for me. So understanding commitment, understanding debt, and how to do with my money, right? This money goes back to my mother because there's a typewriter over there. Knowing I wanted to go to college, being able to type papers instead of to write them out longhand. Presentation was always important to me. So these are things that I knew I wanted for me. It wasn't about my sisters. It wasn't about anyone else. It's like, what are you going to do with your life? And I knew a college education. I knew my sisters had to go to college. There was no doubt. And this was on the cusp of Vietnam, because we took weekly magazines in the 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. So I was politically aware of my environment. And I knew I necessarily didn't want to go to war, but if that meant doing what I need to do to come back and get a degree on the GI Bill, because I had cousins that had done that, that's what I would do. But as it worked out academically, I had to compete with 2 sisters and never brought home a B, so I finished 3rd in that race. But see, finishing 3rd in that race also made me look good in terms of now he's an athlete that's got grades.
Yes.
And a lot of small schools recruited me, and small academic schools, because I had good grades. That made me feel good because I knew I was going to get a college education. And that was one of the reasons that my parents moved from North Carolina to Ohio in the first place, was to make sure and to ensure that we were educated and we got careers that we wanted, and not given a career that someone else wanted us to have.
Love that.
And so that's been the mantra of my life, in terms of understanding who you are and being able to fulfill those dreams.
Love it.
Along with that, guess what? Basketball came along with it.
That's awesome.
I can't remember all the things that basketball has taught me: the preparation, how to compete. And I was small. I used to call myself having a temper, learn how to win and not embarrass somebody is also important, and how to compete, and understanding. Now, here's the teaching part of me: understanding these things. Now, how do you apply it to everyday life? Yeah. How do you apply it to certain situations? Yes, it's a time to get upset. It's a time to you want to fight. But what do you really want to fight? You just don't want to look like you want to fight. Let them know that is the straw that's going to break the camel's back, and you're willing to stand up for it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So these are things that I've learned: diplomacy, when to call a spade, and when to say, okay, we'll let that one slide. Let's see how this continues down the road. But we know we can see what's coming, so be prepared. If it doesn't go the way you want it to go, now what you going to do about it?
Right.
So I didn't have money to gamble when I was a kid, but I always watched the guys shooting dice.
Yes.
So sometimes you got to catch some dice.
Yes.
And then you got to be willing to call a spade, because what you stand up for life and what you actually accept in life sometimes are two different things. And I wanted to be the same person.
Yeah.
I wanted to have whoever it was, or I was representing my household, because I was the only boy. There were certain rules that we had to follow, like 11 o'clock, all the way through. I was a senior in high school. My key had to be in the door or on the front porch.
Yep.
Or they had to know where I was. And,
right.
And so it was deep. My parents believed in discipline.
Yes.
Which will once again help me as an athlete.
Yes.
So I knew that the rules and regulations, you had to follow them. You had to be compliant. So my whole life, in terms of my parents, and I tell people I was blessed. I had three. I had an aunt, an uncle, and a mother. Mm-hmm. And the rule of our household was that you couldn't go to one to get a favor, and then if they said no, run to one. They said, so you had to pick the one that you're going to get your yes from first. And they said, well, so-and-so said it was okay.
Well, that's pretty generous that they let you to pick.
Yeah.
Well, because my uncle had different perspective, because he and I were the only men in the household, but then my auntie and my mother, they had a female perspective. Mm-hmm. So I had to make sure that if there was an argument or a presentation maybe why I wanted to do this, that it had to be thought out, because sometimes just throwing any old thing wasn't going to get done.
Right.
Which made sense too as I grew, because if you start seeing young ladies or dating or whatever, I got two sisters. I want the right guy come knocking on our door too. So life began as I got older and realized that it wasn't so much my will, it's my understanding of how the rules of the house are in place, what my responsibility, and I tell people all the time, I grew up in the streets, because I grew up carrying papers. I grew up playing basketball all over the city of Columbus. After the 10th grade, if there was a ball bouncing, we knew about it. We knew where we would hitchhike, we would ride our bikes, we get there. And how we get home, sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we walk and then hitchhike back. But we wanted to be competitive. We wanted to represent our community and our school as best we could. And we realized we couldn't do that if we didn't go outside of the boundaries of Linden at that point in time. Because we were small, 5'9", 5'10", and then here you go. You got these mammoths over at East, 6'1", 6'2", 6'6".
Well, I mean, you guys got to step on their feet when they go for that rebound, so they can't get it.
We tripped a few down the line. We got tripped too.
Yeah,
and then once again, that's what forged some relationships. You weren't afraid to compete, and you'd be surprised what good friends you can make when you show the guy, we just want to play.
Yeah, you've got quite an amazing legacy behind you and still in front of you, especially now that you've raised two daughters. Your coaching career is over, your playing career is over. What is one word or phrase do you want people to associate with your name going forward?
I think that's about the first time I've ever been asked that question. Well, going forward is here in the present. I just want to be remembered when that day comes as Jim did was He was a good person.
Good person.
Good person. He did. If my word, I get this from my aunties. My word was my bond. If you say you're going to do something, do it.
Yeah.
If you're not going to do it, just say, sorry, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But don't tell someone you're going to do something and then don't do it. So even to this day, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's how I was raised, the exact same way. And I tell people all the time, my grandma, the handshake back then, we didn't even write contracts. It's like if my grandma says it's gonna happen, and you can just trust it. That's the word, and that's the reputation, and that's the reputation I want to have. It's like if somebody come to me and said, La, I need you to do something, even if it's as inconvenient as the devil for me, if I said I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah, and we raised our kids that same way. Now, Coach, as the show's winding down, we got to ask the most important question of all. And your wife told me you won't answer it, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Being the fact that you coach both Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, who was the better of the two?
Well, I'm a play politician on this, but
Cheryl's right.
here's the thing: who was chasing who?
Yeah.
They both are wonderful competitors. When I got to Chicago, Barry was telling me what Michael wasn't going to do. Michael just wanted to play. And if he had to set the table and the mode, fine, follow me. But after he learned, and after people around him, and I'm not talking about my first year, 89, 90 was my first year, and I didn't know Michael Jordan. I coached at Furman University, and Michael was at North Carolina his first freshman year. And we played North Carolina because when Michael played, and everybody's talking about what. And then I forgot about Michael until I became a Bull coach.
Right.
But Michael just wanted to play, and he was going to play hard. He wanted everybody else to play hard too. That was it. That's all Michael wanted. Michael wasn't trying to be better than anybody else other than Michael Jordan, but he wanted to win. He wasn't chasing anybody.
True.
So if somebody says they want to be the best, like even now we're getting with LeBron James and he's the best player of all time, I don't think that was on Michael's agenda. I think Michael wanted to be the best Michael Jordan he could be.
He was unique in his own right at the time.
Well, and still will be. And that I think that's the legacy that he just wanted as an athlete and as a person. Hey, Michael, he's a hell of a player. I don't think he cared about where he ranked. And if that's the case, he would have done things far, I believe, differently. It's not the fact that he didn't have the opportunities. Michael still had Dean Smith as a coach, and Dean Smith was about team. So we'll say, who's the only person who could hold Michael under 20? Dean Smith. Right?
True.
So once again, but Michael wanted to win. If you're going to hold me under 20, we better win because that's what's important. I don't think Michael to this day really cares who was the best. Michael, he was a very good player. And I don't think being the best and being the best of all time, who thinks that way?
Sports analyst and talk show host.
Well,
and podcast.
Okay, well that it's cool, but also in being quote unquote cool is realize there's no definitive answer.
Yeah,
we're throwing it out there, and I just think whoever you happen to like, and who do you like, who's appealing to your eyesight and the things he does. And we all have a pair of lips, and we all have an opinion.
And all those guys are great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, Coach. What a beautiful life and legacy you've already had, and I already know there's more to come, and I'm just grateful that you are spending some time with us and letting our listeners hear a little bit more about your story. And thank you for all that you've done for not only just the sport of basketball, but just for humanity. Just teaching people how to look beyond just playing the game and learn the lessons of the game as well. So we just really appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you. And if that is the effect I'm having,
yes, sir,
then I'm pleased.
Well, you should be pleased, sir, because that is the effect you're having.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. So, Brian, would you let everybody know how they can get in touch with us on the podcast?
Please follow us on Facebook. We'll have updates every other week on new episodes, and you can actually contact us at enbwpodcast@gmail.com.
right. Well, that is our episode for today. Thank you all for joining us. Special thanks to Coach Jim, and a shout out to Coach Jim's wife, the lovely Cheryl Cleamons, the lovable of his life. We'll see y'all next time.
See ya.
Bye.